good if y'all wanted to just make yourself come. Y'all can stand if you want to.
Have a seat. They're
My
comfortable.
name is Chris. I'm sort of like a race director. You called me in charge. How you doing?
Is there anybody that's going to be like in charge or something? They can have one of these. Or have it. I can email this to you. Whatever.
That'd be awesome. I'll give it to you.
Change whatever you want. Mark the field.
I've got 2 of these. Remember when? We'll get started here in just a second.
You want to get going?
Just make the announcement. Say, can
It's water station for a race. We think all we do is hand out water, and it doesn't seem like a lot. And I do a lot of them, have for many, many years. So I don't even think about it. I didn't think about it until I tried to put it down on paper. All the little things that you don't think about if you don't do it. And in a race this big, they're going to have 2,500 people. Didn't we have close to that last year? It gets real crazy at a point. And so you have to be prepared. And that sounds pretty simple, but it's really not. And I think it starts out, I don't know if all y'all are just working or if you're in charge of the table, but if you've got other friends coming to work with you or people from your group or whatever, tell them to get there and, you know, whatever time you're supposed to be there, be there. Because every year, even my own guys that I pay, that I work for, will get there late. And the whole thing is, we got roughly, we're going to fill up 2,000 cups per station with 2,500 runners. Because it's going to be a warm night. It's going to be a little cooler than it is now. But this time of year, people drink more. And especially races like this, or like the Chick-fil-A race we did on Labor Day, there's a lot of people that aren't necessarily real hardcore runners. They're just walking with their stroller, or they just started walking. We get tons of those people, and they drink more. And sometimes they take more than 1 cup because they have to. And so we need to get 2,000 cups out kind of before we get started, because once you start handing them out a lot, you're lucky until the end when it starts getting thin again that you have time to pour more cups. So basically, we'll have some of these tables, and it's a little bit larger, I understand, this year. And we can get about 200 cups per table. And that's one stack. Depending on how many tables we get, and Chris is telling me we may can get all we need. So we need 10 tables per station. We may not get that many, but it is real possible. This is magic. This is next to magic, I'll tell you. But we just end up stacking the second row like that on top. You don't have to have another box to put up there or anything else. They'll stay. Because they don't have to stay but a couple of minutes, because you're going to be, or well, we can turn them upside down, but nothing like that. But we put them on top like that, and you can then get about 180 cups on the table. And that really helps out. So if we can get 6 tables, we can cover it pretty easy. And I guess the thing is, when you think about it, the reason I say be prepared is 2,500 people, we'll give out 1,800 cups anyway. And maybe prepare for 2,000 in case we have, people drinking more than we thought. Out of that, most people that run, the average, are 10 to 12 minutes a mile. So depending on where you are, if you're at 1 mile at 10 minutes, 12 minutes, it's going to get real crazy, because that's the bulk. And you think it's going to ease up? No. We got people that run even slower, and then a ton of walkers nowadays. At Chick-fil-A, normally after the 15-minute milers, you're pretty much like done. And people up to 20-minute milers and stragglers that came late. I mean, more people walking these things now than ever. And you've got to have water for them even more, because they're out there longer. At least this is going to be when the sun is going down, so it's not going to be so bad. But that's a lot of cups. That's why, again, it's important to get everybody there early. I mean, if you have, I'd say we need about 10 people per station. If we have that, it's going to go pretty smooth and easy, because we get there an hour early, we can get these tables done. If you have roughly 2 people per table, you can fill a table like this in 30 minutes with 2 rows. Pretty easy. The trick to doing that, and this year, for the first year, we're going to have 5-gallon jugs. The water truck is going to bring these big bottles of water, have little plastic tops, and you pull the little top off of that. But you take those and you pour it into the jug. And the water company actually gives us these nice little things that you're supposed to put on top of it. It has this one little spout that comes off. So if you fill those up, we'd have to start like 2 days before to fill all the cups. So we can't do it that way. What we do is we pour it in the jug, and then this is highly technical. Cup in each hand, dip it. You want to fill them about half full. That's no good to do it all the way. It's going to slosh out anyway. So about half full, do that. You set them on the table. And what you want to do is set them up tight and just rows back, and that's how you get 200 on the table. That's how you get the second row that you can put on there too. I know that sounds easy, but if you don't do that, believe me, when you get that big rush and you don't have enough water, it gets to be a problem. Because then people are coming through and you don't have water. They don't want to wait. They're in a race. Even if they're walking, they don't want to wait for water. So we set that up in advance. And if you do it like that, like I say, you can fill a table pretty quick in 30 minutes. Should be no problem. But I think everybody should be there. And Chris, I don't know what you told them, but an hour early to get it done. And hopefully,
I think we have from 6 to 8. I think is the time.
Yeah.
Because we also have street closure issues that people have to get around.
Yeah, getting there and parking can be a problem. It gets pretty crowded with all these people in the little neighborhoods.
If you can ride a bike, it's awesome.
Yeah, but we want to do that, and if you do it like that, and you get them all set up, there's really no problem. Because if we can get 1,800 to 2,000 set up, I think that's going to cover everybody that's coming through. We've had times when we didn't have enough water. We've had times people at aid stations didn't fill enough up, and then they're caught trying to hand out and fill up at the same time, and that's almost impossible unless you've got a ton of people there. And if you don't, let me just tell you, I mean, I don't know who's in charge of the station or not. There's always people standing around say, hey, do you mind helping us for a minute? We're kind of over our heads here. And most of the time they will. Very few won't.
Especially people walking to Young Avenue Deli.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that are willing to help. I think, the other thing, when you're putting the tables up, I mean, most everybody's in the street, right? If you push them back near the curb, that's probably level enough. But you've got to remember, you can't put it like you try to put it up on the neutral strip of the grass. It's not real level. You got to get it on something kind of even, because if it's leaning, you'll never get that second row up there. Or sometimes if you're picking them up, all of a sudden they'll fall off and you lose like 30 cups real quick. So I know that sounds pretty elementary, but it's all stuff that happens all the time. I know at the Chick-fil-A race, last Monday on Labor Day, apparently all the water stations bombed out because they were coming over asking us for our great wisdom on it, since ours seemed to go smooth, because people didn't fill the tables up right and they just weren't doing anything. After you fill them up, then the first runners are going to come through. The fastest people are going to run right at 5-minute pace. Generally, they don't even take water in a short race like this. A lot of the first people, through your 6.5 minutes, so only a few will take water. Once you get up to the 7 minutes, 7.5, almost all of them take water. And that's when it gets crazy. And the bulk of them don't come till you get to those 10, 12-minute milers, and then you're deluge. So what we do on our little one, and we're over by the school on Young, is we set up on both sides of the street. It kind of keeps people from all going to one side and running over each other to get to the water, because that happens too. And even the ones that aren't competing, they're just doing it. They'll run over each other to get to the water. And so if you can, set them up on both sides of the street, maybe about 5 yards apart, depending on what you have, maybe a little farther. And then when you're handing them out, I recommend that if you've got 10 people, maybe 5 on each side of the street or whatever, get a little bit, like 3 to 5 yards apart. And that way, when the runners are coming, the first person, I usually like to grab, 4 cups in one hand, something on this order, and then one in one hand. And then if I'm at the front, we got a line of people when I run out, and they'll grab from everybody, but when you run out at first, you go to the back, get more, and everybody just kind of steps up, and you rotate like that.
So you go around the back.
Yeah, you go around the back, grab some more, and then work your way back up. That way it keeps water out there all the time so that all of a sudden everybody's not getting water at the same time, so that when the runner's going by, you can still hand it to them. Handing it to them, there's two highly effective methods. One is just the tip of your fingers like this. That seems to work. The other, you can do this, but sometimes you drop the cup like that, so as I did. But I think this works fine. I don't ever recommend putting your hand behind it because, especially the first guys are running really fast, yeah, they smash it and you're going to get wet. Also, I try to keep my hand away. A lot of people apparently like long fingernails, including guys, and they'll stab at it. Another thing runners like to do, and you kind of got to pay attention, is they'll look at your cup and run by and you think they're not taking it, and then all of a sudden they'll reach back and grab it. And that's always nice, and you'll get a lot of water on you like that. So just kind of be alert while you're doing it. You know, you got to be alert for maybe 15, 20 minutes, handing it out. But you do need to be alert. And even longer, I guess 3 Mile station, you'll be out there the longest besides the finish because the people get more and more spread out. But definitely, if people in your group don't know, you know, tell them just do like that. That's pretty easy. And it works really good if you grab 4, because that way you're not always having to run back to the table if you just get 1 or 2. And that's, if while you're giving them out, you see somehow that you're running out. If you got water, you can always send a couple of people to try to refill real quick while the others hand it out. Because that's going to be at the end when it should be thinning out. You should have a little time to do that. After you think everybody's thinning out pretty good. The other thing we have to do at the water stations, and this is the most fun part, so you thought it was fun before, this is great. You get to pick all those cups up that we just handed out. And there's going to be the same amount that we handed out, so about 2,000. If you have people there that have kids, they're short, they can get them easier, let them go do it. They're going to throw them, if you're on the residential streets like we are on Young, they throw them in their cars. We try to get all we can to not leave trash out. We try to leave no trace, do it the best we can. You're going to find goo packets. That's little energy gels that runners take and walkers take. Nobody really needs it in a race that short because it doesn't even start to work that fast, but they'll still take them. It's like an addiction. They've got to have it, and they're nasty, so, you know, save a little water to wash your hands off when you're done because that stuff's sticky. But they're going to be also, the cups and stuff are going to be about maybe 100 yards down the road, all that way, because people will hang on to them and then toss them. Hopefully, I'd love it if we could announce before the start, to ask them, don't crumple your cups up, just drop them. Because when they drop them, and you're picking them up, you can just do them like this. When they crumple them, you end up with this giant stack of cups instead of just a little nice thing. That kind of helps. The other thing is, and I bring, because I'm in the shoe business and I have these boxes, I bring boxes and write trash on them real big and put them out. But people don't really hit them, but they'll throw them near them. And that kind of helps in picking them up. So if we have some kind of boxes out there, it makes it a little bit easier on the pickup.
That's what I was just talking to her about.
Yeah. And but there's going to be a lot of boxes, and we've got to pick them all up because we don't want to leave trash out from the race so that people like us and want to listen to the race again. And that's pretty much it. Once all that's picked up, we break down the tables, we empty the 5-gallon jugs, we put everything in a nice, neat little pile so that the folks clean it up after can come by and pick it up without having to go through and take extra time doing it because they've got enough to do already. So that's, gosh, I know that was highly technical. Does anybody have any questions? That's it.
We had a race last year, and that was really helpful getting the cups up.
Right?
Yeah.
Breaks can help, yeah. But realistically, ours are so spread out. We get enough people that we go down like a line and just nail them all. And they'll be from one side of the street to the other, up on the sidewalk, and like I said, under cars, which is kind of problematic. We get what we can. But yeah, a rake's a good idea if you have one.
Great information, Barry. Thank you.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
You know, you say not rocket scientists, but the whole, you know, like how to hold the cup and so you don't get wet. I mean, that's, you know,
You're going to get wet.
those are the little things that you have to screw up at first to figure it out, I think.
I've been stabbed by fingernails so many times. I'm gonna make my million inventing some kind of glove that prevents that. But
Also, I think it's key not to fill the cups up because you can run out of water if you are too ambitious with the water. They just want something to wet their mouth, really.
yeah, the water's not even getting in their system either. It really is just to wet their whistle. It takes longer than that race takes for it to really do them any good. So they're really just kind of satisfying something up here more than anything. That's why the faster runners know that they won't even take it. It's everybody else that's like a little less experienced that will want to drink 4 cups every water station.
And you touched on it in a couple different ways, but the thing to expect is the fact that there are going to be different waves of runners, and they're going to be different, like you say, different times. It might be a lull for a little while, and you think, oh, it's slacking up, and then all of a sudden, here comes a bunch of runners. So you got to expect the highs and the lows.
Yeah, and that happens more at the later water stations than the first one. The first one's everything's busy, but 3 is going to be the one where that's going to happen more than anything.
Awesome.
That's all I got.
Cool. Does anybody have any other thoughts or excited?